Hi, guys. Welcome to another interesting episode of the Gist with Essay show. First, I'd like to apologize for, what just happened, for starting late and all. We had a few technical issues, but all's well, all's resolved now. And our guest has been patiently waiting, and so have all our viewers from all over the world. Thank you so much for your love and support. Okay, so we'll just get right into it. If you're watching us on Facebook, Gist with Essay or Essay Pania, please give us stars, give us likes, drop your comments. If you have any questions for our guests, please drop them as the show is going on so that she can attend to your questions before the show comes to an end. If you would like to be a part of the show, you would like to come online to join the studio to ask your questions or make one or two comments, you're welcome. The link to do that is going to be dropped. Yeah, that's the link right there. And you can join the studios. We'll also put it in the comment section so that it's clickable for you guys all to have access to it. So I'll just run straight to our guest is Dr. DOUBRA TIMI-WOOD. I call her, personally to me, she's the power woman. Because one, she's a marital bliss coach. And when you see her, I mean, for me, when I see her face, when I see her smile, I remember bliss. She's like the true definition of the word bliss. Okay. And today she's going to be talking to us about enjoying marital bliss after a traumatic experience. Trust me, when I say she's seasoned, she has helped over 1,000 resourceful women structure their marriages, enjoy marital bliss while excelling in money and motherhood. I like that, those two combinations, money and motherhood. I love being a mom, but I also love the money, guys. So let's bring our guest right into the studio without much ado. Hello, Dr. DOUBRA. Thank you so much for coming on the Gist with Essay show. It's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And thank you so much for your patience.
It happens.
I guess patience is one of the virtues of enjoying a blissful marriage, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how your journey into being a marital coach all started.
Okay. So it's amazing. Good evening, everybody, from wherever you're watching from. I mean, we had to go through some hoops and hurdles to be here tonight, but I'm excited that since we've started, we pray we don't experience any itch. My name is Dr. DOUBRA TIMI-WOOD, and as Essie said, I'm a marital bliss coach. Aside being a marital bliss coach, I'm a practicing journalist, I'm a lecturer, I'm a healthy foodpreneur. That means I own my own healthy food company. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm an author, and I teach women how to structure their marriage because over time I've discovered that it's as if society is ganged up against a woman that wants to excel in money, marriage, and motherhood. So the idea or the notion is choose where you want to excel in. You want
Mm,
money, okay, have money, but possibly struggle in marriage. Okay, have kids, but good. But we're a generation of women who would excel in all areas because we have the capacity to do that. Now, excelling means that marriage becomes the where it's marriage introduces us to the world. So we're not that lady that she's doing well in her career, but she's not married. She's divorced. She's single. No, we're the one who wins all around. And it's very important that women live up to their true ability. Now, interestingly, when a man is married to a woman who enjoys bliss, it also fast tracks his success because
mm.
it's now me becomes us. So in essence, what marital bliss is enjoying everyday bliss in your union that fosters teamwork, help you raise well-rounded children, help you grow family wealth, generational wealth. So it's not the idea of being married and being drained, lonely, frustrated, or going through the social media definition of what marriage is, but actually authentically being grateful for your union.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Dobra. Now, can you explain to us who a marital bliss coach is and what's the difference between you and what you do and a marriage counselor?
Okay, so I don't like being called a marriage counselor because over time, marriage counselors seems to be people who just want to listen to couples having issues and possibly profile their own solution. Right? What a marital bliss coach is, I'm not showing you how to make your marriage work. We go beyond working. I'm showing you how to authentically enjoy it. You know, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a kid and you give the kid orange juice. The kid takes orange juice. The kid is thirsty, takes orange juice, drink, and it's fine, gives you the cup and say thank you. But if it's a kid that likes ice cream and you give that child ice cream, the child is excited, ecstatic, happy. Say, Mommy, I love you, I love you. You're the best mommy in the world. I mean, you get all the accolades that you're like, oh, really? So, and we go for marital bliss coaching, we go beyond you just making your marriage work to actually
Okay,
enjoying
join.
all round awesome marriage. Yeah.
Emphasis on enjoying the marriage, not just being married or staying married for the
Absolutely.
sake of, you know, the word marriage itself. Yeah.
Not in the
Okay.
not in the longevity of marriage, but in actually enjoying the process.
Process. Yeah, I think I can relate with you because before I got married, I used to always say, now a lot of my friends got married before me, right? So I'd seen marriage through different lenses, right? And I there's something I used to do. I used to pick, yeah, adjust my prayer points every year based on what I saw in my friends' marriages. Yeah. And I would say,
Yeah.
okay, Lord, no, that thing happening in this person's marriage, I don't want it in my own marriage. But this other part of her marriage, I like it. That's my prayer point. And then I'll
Yeah.
go to friend B's house and I'm like, okay, I don't like it when her husband does this. So my husband shouldn't do this to me. I don't want it. No. So I was adjusting my prayer points accordingly, And one thing that I really discovered is that not everybody enjoys marriage. And I'm going to tell you something. My best friend, right? She got married, and then because we were now separated by location, I hadn't seen her. I just used to talk to her over the phone and all that. And I'd seen a lot of marriages around me, and I'm like, this marriage, are you sure I really want to marry? Because there are a lot of things that I'm seeing. Some of these people are sad more times than they're happy. Do you get what I'm saying? Then I went to visit my friend because I've noticed that when some of my friends got married, they changed. Okay. First, there's that pride of, oh, now I'm a married woman. And then you see them after a few months or a few years, it's like they've cut down their wigs and like, let's say when you enter marriage, you will see. I'm like, no, I'm not going to see you because I don't want to see. Then I went to visit my best friend, and she was the same person. Now, we went to secondary school together, right? So I've known her since we were
Um,
kids, right? And so we've evolved over the years. And she was the same person. She was the same, permit me to use the word, crazy person that I knew, crazy, happy, joyful person. And she's being herself in her home. And her husband sits down and watches her enjoying what he's seeing. So I'm like, okay. So what we look at as, oh, this Chris, when you marry, you go calm down. There's a man who can actually enjoy that
um,
in his partner. And I'm like, that's the kind of man. He must enjoy everything.
mm,
Do you understand? In order for me to also enjoy my marriage, he must accept all that I am. Right. So I understand when you say enjoying marriage is different from, just being married. You have to enjoy the process of marriage. Now, what inspired you to become a marital bliss coach?
um, so I discovered that I'm a very ambitious person, right? And in Africa, being ambitious person is a recipe for marital disaster
Hmm, true.
because the first thing people will think about is, why would you say a man that will tolerate all this your ambition Where would you see, so there are so many hoops put in place. And I discovered that so many women were falling for this trap because it is wrong. Now, you gave a very interesting analogy of your friend having a spouse that enjoys what ordinarily would have been tagged crazy. Now, first thing everybody needs to know is the very thing that may irritate people could be the thing somebody would fall in love with. Secondly, marriage is an enhancer.
Yeah.
It's a buffer. In every standard where marriage is described, the idea is what you cannot achieve alone, you're getting extra help, you're having teamwork, and you need that mental stability to enjoy it and literally win together. And I discovered in my marriage that when I did I, my level of success was nothing compared to when it was a we journey.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? We need to understand this truth, because there's some women that view marriage as something that reduces their success. They sometimes feel like, oh, look at what I've achieved now. If maybe I was single, I would have done far, far, far. It's a lie. It's something that I don't know how it got into the society, but a lot of people believe that. And I felt that this is a message that every woman needs. Every woman needs to understand that marriage is actually an addition, not a subtraction from your life. It helps you, it enables you, it covers you, protects you. It has so many positives to it. That is why we must be extra intentional in who we marry, in how we structure our marriage. And this is very important because some women, because of the erroneous thought on marriage, tend to go into marriage pretentious. So the man
Yes.
doesn't know who he married at, so, and that is such a huge recipe for disaster, because the man falls in love with the person he was dating. So possibly he saw a quiet, hardworking, you know Christian, very religious lady, doesn't dress, you know, indecently. And he got married to her, and he likes that. He likes what he saw, holds intelligent conversations, and he's talking about maybe regular things that other people can be watching. And she's like, nah, I don't have time for that. I'm just focused on my work and all that. So he has an idea of this person he wants to build his life with. And he asks the question, would you marry me? And she says that. But you can go so far to pretend. You can't pretend for so long. And then 3 months, 6 months, 9 months into the union, and he's looking for this ideal lady that he got married to, and she's nowhere to be found. And she's being replaced by something that he doesn't know and doesn't appreciate. That is where the problem starts. So every woman should, in essence, know that she's worthy enough. She's worthy to be loved. There is a man that would love her crazily with all her essence, because truly, there's really no trait that is bad. It depends on who is defining it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And the truth is, I like that you said that. You mentioned that, a lot of people don't know who they are getting married to.
No,
Okay.
they don't.
When I met my husband, I wasn't a talk show host. I wasn't doing anything related to entertainment. Well, I had done, in the
Okay.
past, long ago before, and then I stopped. I'd gone into events and all of that. And I said to him while we were getting to know each other, I said to him, I said, you know, um, I love entertainment and I see myself going into it sometime in the future. Particularly, being a talk show host, I've always wanted to be a talk show host and all of that, So if this is something that you're not comfortable with, because I don't know, I may never do it, but I just want you to know that this is a part of me. You get what I'm saying? And he's like, oh wow, he loves it. He loves me and whatever it is I'm evolving into, as long as it's not something that's going to be harmful to me or to the family, he's willing to support me. And that reminded me of someone I counseled, as a relationship coach. She called me and said, oh, she's in a relationship and her fiance was, because they were engaged, and he met her when she was studying theater arts in school. Only for him to wake up one day and say, look, I know you did theater arts, but I see myself marrying like, a professional, like a banker or something. I can't see myself marrying someone who wants to go into entertainment. And she wanted to be an actress, and she was confused. And I said to her, if you marry him and succumb and then, become whatever he wants you to become, you are going to resent that man. All right. If he doesn't love you enough to love what you want to be, then he's not the right person for you. Please let the relationship end. It's better for you to have a broken relationship than a broken marriage. At the end of the day, you get married to him. After years and years and years, you now realize, you know what, I'm not living my best life. I can't do this anymore. And then you pack up the marriage and you leave. So it's better to end it now. If he really loves you, he will come back. If he doesn't, there's someone better out there for you who would love you and accept you the way you are. So yes, a lot of people do that. They get married and they don't know, they have absolutely no idea who they are getting married to. And it's both ways. Yeah. Sometimes a woman marries a man, a normal man, and then he wakes up one day
Yeah,
and
the thing
decides, I
is,
want to be a politician or a pastor. And she's not ready for that. She doesn't want to be Mommy Gio. She doesn't want to be a politician's wife. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, sorry, you were saying something.
yeah, but you know what? So one thing we should know about that is life happens. So I'll just look at it from, both lands, play the devil advocate, then still support it. One mistake people make is they forget that courtship, the most important component of courtship is communication.
Mhm.
Talk as much as you want. Literally paint a picture, paint your preferred reality with words. I remember during courtship, my husband and I would literally speak for hours. Like we were talking. Where if we would ever remember our courtship period, it is the hours we spent talking. We're always talking. I was describing the kind of kids I want. I was describing the kind of in fact, when we even started talking, we had no plans that both of us were going to even be husband and wife. So maybe it's our talk that maybe now made both of us look at each
Oh,
other.
okay.
Because we're literally just talking and like, nah, I can't marry somebody like you. Now. No, the person I'll marry, let me tell you, person. So, that's kind of talk. But the problem is that we have curated a facade where people feel courtship is about going to fancy restaurants, looking pretty, giving gifts, the most expensive gift. So you've looked at the very unnecessary things are being applauded while the tenets of what you should be looking for, is being shrouded under the carpet. And 6 months, 3 years down the line, you start saying irreconcilable differences, which is absolutely wrong. Now, regarding the fact that both of you spoke and he's saying that, I want to be an accountant. And the lady saying, I want to be an air hostess. Yeah. 10 years down the line, the guy saying, I have the call of God on my life. I want to be a pastor. What happens? Now, the very wrong thing to do is to say, because we didn't talk about it, then, okay, we're packing up. No. This person is your lover. This person is your friend. One thing I can tell you is that before the talk of pastor is even coming up, during your process, there are things that would be refining both of you. You would experience that refining impact. Yeah. So it's not to say, oh, I want to back up. Let me tell you, before a man comes to say, I want to be a pastor and you be Mommy Gio, there are certain things that would have happened in the background. He has increased the number of times he goes to church. You've noticed his prayer life has increased. You notice he's now fasting more. Possibly he's now seeing vision for you. Then we really must tell ourselves the truth. You can't say he woke up and said he wants to be a pastor.
Mhm.
There's a process to it. The problem is, while this person was evolving, you didn't key into it, you didn't share in it, you didn't even go into the mind of the person to know the essence. Now, there's something interesting you said. You were saying that he would allow you do what you do as long as it's not harmful to you or harmful to the family. Meaning, where do we see ourselves in this your evolution? What
Yeah.
does it mean for us? What does it mean for me as a person? Because, hey, I thought we were doing air hostess. I thought I was doing flat tummy, clean legs, short skirts. What's happening? Those things are disappearing. Am I now wearing long skirts? Am I wearing fitted dresses? Where do I come? Are you extending grace to me to maybe not be at your level or your speed, but just carry me with care with
I
you?
know.
Do you
Okay.
understand? Besides,
Yeah.
the person is a pastor, the very first convert the person should have should be his wife.
His
I mean,
wife.
it speaks to your ministry. Do you understand? If you
Yeah.
cannot minister and convince her to become a Mojo, then who do you want to preach to? Do you understand? So it speaks to the fact that if you cannot bring your partner on board, then there's an underlying issue that's not being addressed. Do you understand? Most
Yeah.
times we look at the symptoms and ignore the root cause. Most of the issues in marriages are not merely about the symptom. There's an underlying reason, there's a root cause.
Mm.
And one of the main root causes of problems is trauma, one of the things we're going to discuss today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly why I was smiling, because the conversation is taking us right into that. All right, because traumatic experiences take many forms, from health crisis to loss to childhood traumas resulting from different kinds of abuse and so on. So, how do these experiences impact a marriage, and what are the common challenges that couples face as a result, of trauma?
The thing about trauma and its effect is that most times the traumatized person is not aware that they are traumatized. They're not
Mm.
aware. So I'll give you an
Okay.
example. When you called earlier and I said I had a counseling, been on a 3 hours counseling session, and I keep this person literally signed up for this session because she feels like her husband, she has gotten it up to here. And she sent me a message after the session. She said, the reason I paid for the session was I needed somebody to tell me, please leave him. Go and live your life. You've tried. I mean, live your best life. That is what she has been. She just needed an enabler. She just needed
Mm.
somebody, an authority figure to tell her, like, you've tried. And after pouring out her heart, and I was looking at her and I was like, your husband is not a problem. Your husband is not a problem. I said, then where's the problem? Oh, my mother-in-law, like, no, your mother-in-law is not the problem.
Why the
Yes.
mother-in-law?
And I'm like, you are the problem. That's not what I paid for. Like, you paid for the truth, actually. That's what you paid for. I started speaking to her, and this lady literally started crying because she opened up and she went back to a pain of over 15 years.
Wow.
She had no idea how traumatized she was,
She was.
how she was lashing out, how she was using her own hands to destroy her marriage. She had no idea. And then at the end of the session, she said, how did you get in? I have never even thought about this. I've never shared this with anybody. How did you know there was something wrong? I told her, you're traumatized. Your husband is actually the victim. She said, what? I'm like, yes, he's a victim. He's a victim of your pain. You don't even know what you're doing to him. And then so she said,
Wow.
I really was ready to walk out of my marriage. I just needed to satisfy myself that I have tried. I had no idea. Trauma comes in different ways. I can give you another example. I had a coaching session with somebody, and she literally, and I think that's a challenge with with my sessions, because I mean, how do you now tell this person do a video testimonial? Because these people are really broken down to their core. We had the session, and I just left the Zoom session in, and I met a crying woman. Hello. And she, for the next 30 minutes, we're waiting. And she said
Wow.
she's
For her
finished.
to calm down. Yeah.
Her marriage is over. This is it. She's in the UK. And oh my gosh, she's talking about distance because of to get jobs. Sometimes you don't get a job where your partner is, you have in another state and all that, going. And she was just talking how this man has dehumanized her and all that. And I was like, okay. And when we started talking, we discovered she has a trauma. She's reacting to a trauma.
Mm.
Everybody she has dated before she got married broke the relationship off with her. So she was literally prepping for when this man will walk
It
away,
walked away. Oh.
knowing she's prepping for it. And the man got tired of holding on because in his head, what have I done? Why can't you trust me? I've loved you enough. What's the problem? And that day he called her and said, I think we should take a break. So that's why she was really crying. She said,
Um,
I knew this is how it will end. I told her, no, it's not how it will end. You are the one making it end this way, actually. You're living in fear. You never opened up. You got
mm,
into the marriage to leave. Literally getting married, preparing for doom because you've had traumatic experiences of doom. But now the sad part is you are not even aware. See, I could give you instances. When I got married, the first thing I could ever think about was to look out for myself financially. Why? I'm married to an amazing man, but why would I look out for myself financially? Because I lost my dad.
oh, yeah.
My dad
Okay.
was an amazing person. I lost him, and my mom had to take care of us. And she was such a hard worker that, as children, it didn't affect our social class. We didn't change schools. We didn't change our dress. I mean, like she had to just cushion up and cover up the effect. So, as a child, you know, interestingly, I lost my dad just when I gained admission. So like he just got home and
Mm.
he gave him an admission letter. So you need to pay for school fees. So I so I had to, when my mom was sitting on the ground and crying and all that, I had to meet her mommy's school fees because university will not hear that your father died now. School
I'm
fees.
telling you.
And she was crying, but she had to like give me my bag, clean her eye, me my bag. And with the tears she was cleaning it, she back to Union Bank and she wrote the check. That's a resourceful woman. Cry how you cry, but clean your eyes and give me my school fees. So, so without even being aware that caused a shift in my head, I would just unknowingly always ensure that I do not get any surprises, that whatever life throws at me, I will be prepared. Do you see why I would maybe go the extra mile to gag my finances? No matter how much this person comes, like, oh, I earned $1 million. I'm like, oh, nice, let's spend it. Then you now earn 10,000, you now hold it, put it inside pocket. And you don't even know why you're doing that. You're doing it as a result of trauma. Remember when we were growing up, our moms were so cautious of us. Who is that boy that spoke to you? Who is that
Yeah.
this? Who is that? It's in the later years you find out that in their generation, most of them were being molested and they didn't have the guts to speak out.
Mm.
They couldn't speak out. They couldn't say, okay, my uncle did this, my cousin did that. So it now caused a traumatic experience where they were monitoring their daughter so much, almost choking their daughter with extra because they couldn't talk about it. So they just want to ensure that you do not experience it, but they can't tell you why they are being extra careful. I can go on and on how trauma affects the way we behave.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So
Yeah. Thank you.
you have mannerisms that are affecting you without even knowing the root cause of it.
Thank you for addressing that issue of the traumas that of abuse that some of our parents experienced growing up that they couldn't talk about. Because first things first, it was a taboo. You can't even say that. Who would they tell? Okay, their families are willing
Yeah.
to cover it up and not address the abuser or stuff like that just to save the family name. All right. And so
Yeah.
a lot of people grew up with now these women's children also experience abuse, and because they've learnt that culture of not speaking out, they also
Culture of
bottled
silence.
it. Yeah. And so they carry this trauma into their marriage. At least our mothers somehow found a way to deal with it such that it didn't affect their marriage per se, but they were overprotective over their girl children, right? But in our generation, trauma destroys marriages. Okay. I had my own fair of trauma before I got married, and I knew what it did to me. And I had to tell myself, I'm not going to get married if I don't deal with this thing. I need to heal from this mentality. I need to just heal myself, because the man I'm going to marry, like I said to you, I was speaking good vibes for all the marriages. And then I kept telling myself, if the Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor, then I must be a good thing. And a good thing cannot carry trauma. So I had to start looking for ways to deal with mine. Now, some people, right, go into marriage with this trauma. They don't discuss it with their husbands. I told my husband, okay, for fear that this man may not look at me the same way again. So instead of telling him and risking losing him, I will keep quiet. But the trauma is coming in the way of their intimacy. It's coming in the way of communication. So, for example, if my husband and I are watching something that's a trigger to me, now he's not experienced it. So he's probably going to he's going to respond to that movie or something in a different way. Yeah, and say to him, no, babe, you're saying it because you're not thinking the way this person who experienced it is thinking. Let's look at it from, and then we'll talk about it, and sometimes I'll just tell him, what, I understand this person because I've been through this, and he's okay with it. Look, my husband I don't understand that man. The way God created that man, he created him specially for me, because there is nothing that moves him. There's nothing that shakes him. For him, it's like, I've signed this contract with you, right? It's my responsibility to protect you. Yeah, and part of that is protecting you from your past. That I have experienced. So the women who go into marriage afraid, not knowing how their partners will respond, how would you advise them to go about, especially when they realize that, because a lot of people are going to watch this show and they're going to realize, okay, I realize that I'm the problem in my marriage, because now I know that it's the trauma that I haven't dealt with that's bringing issues, that is making it difficult for me to communicate with my husband, that is, causing issues with our intimacy, right? So what would you advise them to do? And for the men who are listening as well, what would you say to them if their wives come to them with such stories like, oh, you know what, honey, I was abused when I was a kid, or I went through this, or I went through that, and I couldn't tell you because of XYZ, but we're here now, and this is it. How would you advise both people?
So first off, trauma is gender neutral. It could happen to a man, it could happen to a woman. But there's something you said I want to take you back on. You said trauma is destroying more homes now. That our mothers, it didn't affect their homes. It actually did. But the thing is, they didn't have a choice, because then walking away was some sort of a taboo. So they would just, chest it, stomach it, and go through it. In our generation, we have lots of options because of financial empowerment. So this woman can actually speak. Our voice is now, giving impetus. So it's not like trauma wasn't, destroying homes. The fact is that our mothers didn't have the audacity to leave. Now, you're saying that what about women that they got married and they can't share it with their spouses? Now, a woman that got married and can't share it with her spouse, she has even gone a step ahead, because she has
Mm.
even identified that she's traumatized.
Okay.
95 traumatized. They have no idea. So they are just lashing out. And when they discuss with you, they are 100% sure that they are right. If you do not have insight to know that this is trauma speaking, they will convince you they are absolutely right, because they have no idea. Let me tell you something about the truth and a lie. Someone that has no idea that what they are saying is a lie will say it with so much audacity as the truth. Most traumatized people, the things they say, it's their own honest truth. So they must first be problem aware. They must first know that I am traumatized. See, some people are financially traumatized. That's why you see some people that they came from a very poor background, and God bless them. They are now financially, buoyant, but they cannot even help anybody because there's this fear of going back to poverty. So trauma is working. So there are two kinds of women. There are women that have been traumatized that have never taken the time to sit down and process it. All they've done is to block out that phase in their life. It's like it never happened. It's like it happened to somebody else. They don't talk about it. They do not acknowledge it. So it's not even say, oh, they did not tell their husband. Because sometimes when we hear these stories, like, imagine she never tell her husband. She didn't even tell herself. Is it Fafa husband? She didn't tell herself. She didn't have the conversation with herself. She just created a facade, created a wall to protect her heart from that pain. So the pain keeps festering. It keeps festering and affecting every part of her life. So you see her, maybe she's an empowered woman that is bold, that is always speaking out, but she's not a happy person. She's hurt. She has all the blessings of God upon her life, but there is something somewhere wrong because she has an unidentified trauma that is permeating her spirit. Now, to the woman who, congratulations to you, you identified that you're traumatized, but you are scared. There's a part of the Bible that says God has not given us the spirit of fear, but that's not the scripture I want to refer to. The scripture I want to refer to talks about we not operating in fear. But let's not even spiritualize it, yeah? Let's just say it. If you want to get married to somebody or you're married to somebody and you cannot trust him with your minutest details, so when crazy things happen in the marriage, what would you say? For instance, let's say possibly somebody was raped, yeah? And maybe the person got pregnant. And maybe as a teenager, and the parents took her to the hospital, maybe they did an evacuation, maybe she got pregnant, they did an evacuation, maybe something happened to her womb, and you didn't see anything. You were aware. You kept quiet because you didn't want to lose this man. 2, 3 years, 4 years, you go to the hospital and they tell your husband, oh, this is what is wrong. How do you think he will react? The thing is, most times we do not put ourselves in the shoes of our partners, because if we do, we'll be more empathetic. It is better you trash it out. It is better you come into the marriage naked. In all honesty, now naked, I don't necessarily mean your clothes, but without the covers, without the layers, without trying to be this person you're not. Because I mean, if you tell this person, it will show you how much this person is ready to fight for you. I spoke about my client and I made her to, in fact, appreciate her husband more. Because I told her, I said, are you aware that, was he aware of this backstory I'm hearing? And she said, yes, they're from one village. So everybody in the village was aware. He was aware. Before they got married, a lot of people told him not to get married to her, but he chose her. I like, so how did you forget that this person chose you? Can't you see what trauma is doing to you? That you cannot even appreciate love. Instead, it has changed the prism that you see love as hate. There are some women that cannot stand them having a doting partner. It makes their skin to crawl. Why is he always gumming me? I beg, he's monitoring me. Why is he gumming? I mean, people want a doting partner. There are people that don't want it.
Yeah.
See, there are people that attract men that cheat on them because they've been traumatized. So they will tell you with all boldness that, there's no man that doesn't cheat. That is trauma speaking. Go behind the scene. That woman has been, she has experienced infidelity. So it has eroded her self-confidence that she does not believe she's good enough to be loved. She doesn't see herself worthy. And now the sickening thing is she can date somebody that doesn't cheat. And because of her insecurity as a result of trauma, she can influence him to cheat. Because you are the one there's a day I did a post. I like, why are you bothering your husband about, this is my big stomach, this is my bow leg, this is my K leg, this is my nose that is flat. I mean, he saw all of that. Why are you reminding me? Why you sound like a broken record? It is your inferiority complex that is speaking. Some people have been bullied in school, and that's
Mm.
trauma. Like, see how skinny she is. I'll give you an example. While in secondary school, I was very, very skinny, like literally very skinny. And I was like the skinniest girl. And all I wanted to do was to get fat. I remember in SSL, tell my friends that, you know what, as we come back from holiday, I would have added weight. I would have added weight. I would have added weight. And eventually I added the weight. And the same people that were now started saying I'm too fat. What's wrong with you people? Can't you people stay one place? And I remember in 2016, I did keto and I lost a lot of weight. Like, I literally, you could divide my size into 5% and I was one. I was super skinny. Guess what? I hated my look. Everybody was applauding it, but I hated it because somewhere in my head, fat was defined as beautiful.
Oh.
So I need to unlearn it, because most times when we talk about trauma, we think it's the regular, somebody must have been sexually molested, physical violence. There are little everyday trauma
No, that
that
people
people,
experience.
experience. Verbal abuse, verbal torture that rids the person of every iota of self-confidence. And you see the person talking down on themselves, no matter how amazing they are. And you tell the person that, you're good, like, is it me? Not be people like me. That is trauma. So you must first identify that this is a traumatic response before you can even get the solution.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dobra. I want to touch on moments with Jenny's comment. Can we go back to that comment, please? Yeah, because I completely agree with her. And, she said it's very important to understand that not all spouses are emotionally matured enough to handle some information. I agree. I know of someone who was abused, and she was in a relationship when it happened, and the guy couldn't deal. He didn't have the emotional intelligence to deal with it, and he broke up with her. Okay. Now we were all screaming like, "What kind of man is he? What kind of a human being is that? Oh, he wasn't a good man. He wasn't meant for you," and all that. But in hindsight, okay, when I started, doing coaching, I realized that that man actually made the right decision. He wasn't emotionally mature enough. He didn't have the emotional intelligence to deal with it. He knew that if he continued that relationship, he could not deal. Okay. And he would probably end up hurting that person even more. So he withdrew. Now everybody was criticizing him and all of that. But that guy himself needed to deal with that information. This is someone that I claim to love, that I say I love, or this is someone I love, and this has happened to her. How do I deal with it? Because a lot of times we think that
So, like, the first thing I'll tell somebody like that is, we put so much power in the hands of the next person, be it our friends, our spouses. We put so much power in their hands and we take away the power from us. I don't know who taught us this. I don't know why we feel encumbered or belabored with our responsibility, that we need to pass it on to somebody. Now, the first focus of the trauma is the victim.
mm-hmm.
And you are responsible for how you process it and who you share it with. There is no law anywhere that says you must share it in the first place. That is why I said people shouldn't just, criticize somebody like, oh, she didn't tell her husband.
Mm-hmm.
I think people didn't even tell themselves. Like, it literally happened. They walked up and they blocked it off.
Yeah.
And because they do not have the mental capacity to walk through it. It's a pain they are scared of. It happened to you. You are the victim.
But Dr. Dobra, there's
Yeah.
also the issue here, because this is it's really broad actually, and they say different strokes for different folks, so people handle these things differently. Okay. I experienced trauma after I had my child. I
Okay.
didn't think of it as trauma. It was when I started coaching that I realized that a lot of the things that I went through, was actually trauma. Now, it happened to me in the hospital. I almost lost my life. I was traumatized. My husband was traumatized because he almost lost his wife. That's two people dealing with trauma and not talking about it. Well, we're just faking it. Do you understand? Now we get out of that hospital and we're home, but we're still dealing with the after effects, right? And for a long time, while I was dealing with, there's a thin line between, oh, okay, I've survived this now, yeah, and then still dealing with the after effect, the pain and everything that you're actually still physically going
All right.
through in your body, yeah, and all that, and then having a partner who's understanding, but you expecting that, I'm the one who went through this, so I'm the victim, right? Not realizing that, he's also a victim by proxy, or he's also a, how do we say it now, co-celebrant, co-victim. He was there with you through it. So in his own little way, no matter how little, that man is also going through some sort of trauma. Okay. Now, when I realized that, look, this trauma is sinking, is getting to me, and I'm not being my best self in as a whole, as a human being, let alone as a wife and all of that. I now started to pray for myself and then pray to God, like, help me to heal from this thing so that I don't allow it to affect my marriage. My husband on his own, we had not sat down to talk about it, but he was also praying, dealing with his own trauma, but putting himself aside and saying, you know what, Lord, I need you to heal my wife so that we can get back our lives together. We can, it's like resume our marriage. I'm going to take BMO's um, contribution in a minute, but what I'm trying to say is that sometimes it happens that way. Okay, so there's one victim, but
So
if the trauma
there's
happened, what if
something
the
we should
experience happened in the marriage and the other person
there's
experienced it,
understand.
the other person too is
There's
also
something
going some sort of trauma.
so there's something we should understand. I feel like there's so much responsibility we put on the neck of this person called our spouse. Now, I need you to understand that if a man is by himself financially irresponsible, it may be a traumatic, how lashing out, or may not be trauma. He's just irresponsible. The fact that he's married doesn't automatically wipe out that irresponsibility. The
True,
difference now is a married man financially irresponsible. Now,
true,
one mistake we make over time is the fact that we expect that because this person is married, there is this wealth of wisdom. There's this portal of wisdom that he has walked through into. So he has all the wisdom, he has all the sense, has all the emotional maturity. He doesn't. If he doesn't have sense before he asks you, "Will you marry me?" He still doesn't have the sense after you said yes. So, and that starts with your ability to be able to diagnose him. Because there's so many people that are like, imagine, how can my husband do that? But can't you see that he does not have sense? Since where did you manufacture the sense and give to him? Because
mm,
he's husband. When he was boyfriend, he does not have sense, and you were okay with boyfriend not having sense. Suddenly you feel because he wore a black suit and paid for a
and
wedding,
said I
someone's
do.
sense came. No. That is why we owe it to ourselves to understand where our partners are regarding. And honestly, we have different home training. There are some
True,
people that cannot stand the fact that their wives were molested. In fact, they cannot stand the fact that their wives even dated somebody before meeting them.
true,
Now, why do you want to put a strain on that fragile emotion of that person? Being your husband doesn't automatically make him emotionally matured enough to handle that information. That is why there is mentorship. That's why there's counseling. That's why there's coaching. The problem we have in society is that we use the one approach answers all. I'll give you another example. I had a lady send me a message and she said she wanted to book a session. Now she told me that she was at a conference where I spoke, and somebody asked a direct question regarding her husband not footing the bills in the family and all that. And she listened to what I told the woman and she went to practice it because she wanted to ask that kind of question. I'm like, okay, if you practiced it, so why are you coming back? She said, because it wasn't working for her. But she saw the other lady say it was working for her. And like, because the woman explained in detail the kind of man. She has been married to this man for 22 years.
Wow.
So she had inadvertently taught this man not to be responsible because she was always providing. She always had it. So she needed to see how she had been an enabler. Do you understand? She has enabled the laziness. You did not enable any laziness. You just inherit laziness. You want to use the same strategy. It doesn't work. That's the thing. We most times feel, oh, the lady said that this is what this person should do in that case. And this case is not an exact mirror of yours. Your lived realities are different. Your fears are different. Your strengths are different. Your weaknesses are different. That is why we must invest in having somebody walk us through the easy parts of our lives. Clarity is very good. Clarity fast tracks your success. Clarity fast tracks your success in all areas of life. It makes you enjoy bliss in your marriage. It makes you know what you want. It makes you know how to communicate with this person. It makes you know, do I use a 2-month period to ease this topic? Do I ask you, oh, hey babe, so what do you think? So my friend was telling me about, you know, those time you want to talk about yourself, I say my friend. So, you know, like, so my friend was talking about this, what do you think? And this person say, that man is a bastard. For what now this? You never test it. You just carry yourself. And you know, like somebody said, you should open up. No, it was a general advice. It wasn't curated. It wasn't tailor-made to suit your specific need. And when it has to do with our emotions, you must invest in getting a tailor-made, curated answer to help you, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. It doesn't happen.
Okay.
Even mass production clothes don't do one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. This is getting really interesting, and I can see that we have a lot of comments. There's one particular comment that I really want to touch on, but we actually need to take a break from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back. So, guys, please drop your comments, give us thumbs up, share, keep sharing. I can see our numbers are going up. Keep sharing, and please, give us a like. We'll take this musical break, and we'll be right back.
It's a small world, but you know if you trek from Nigeria to London. Oh yes. It's a small world, but you know if you trek from Nigeria to London. To win free drink, you must first buy drink. Oh yeah, knock 'em, knock 'em. Never have a person. Never have a person. You never have a person. I did do I'm judging. God is able. Who know no medicine, send a vegetable. Time on the praise, we want beg you money. We laugh to the bank like it's funny. No go look good this. Even if not jumbo. No matter how temper hot, you know go fit to cook beans. Never have a person. Never have a person. You never have a person. My gra makes I breathe, no complete, Shine your eye for the street, say the grace and eat, No food for lazy man. No before mama put picking. Sure you won't try me. Let it demo begin. Today's newspaper. And tomorrow see a paper. We are here making pepper. You the press calculator.
Oh my God, I was enjoying that song so much, I nearly forgot. You guys should go and look for it on YouTube, please. So that's Keda Ace. He's one of our biggest sponsors. Yeah, you can find all his works on um, all social media streams at Keda Ace. Okay, so yes, back to this very interesting, controversial, all in all topic. Trauma is big. It's huge. It's sadly it's a part of almost everyone's life. Okay, so if you say that you haven't even experienced any kind of trauma in your life, you must know someone who has experienced it, and you probably don't understand why things are not working. I've coached a lot of people who look. I've had friends, even I had a friend once that her issues were so much and we're having so many issues, and I'm like, one day I called and I said, babe, I think that you have underlying issues. The reason why you behave this way, I've been there, you understand, and I see you. You need to address what happened to you as a child, you understand, to be able to move on in your relationship. You're fighting with everybody, with every friend. And it looks like I'm the only friend who you're having issues with, who's coming back to say, no, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that. This is why I'm angry with you, because that's the kind of person I am. I would confront you about it. We can quarrel, we can scream, but then we'll move forward because I've already committed to being your friend. You get me? And then when we really got talking, she opened up about, different things that happened to her as a child. And she's still working on herself. She's getting better. Those things came up, and that's why I want to read this. Those are some of the issues that she also faced in marriage, because things were happening that were triggering. So I'm going to read this statement from Bimo. Bimo, I hope I got your name correct. Now, she says, some men trigger their wives' trauma unknowingly, especially women that use avoidance method, which is probably the same thing as what Dr. Doubra said, the blockage, right? They've blocked it out, to manage their trauma. That is a big problem in most homes. Not sharing everything with your spouse, and he or she triggers your past trauma unknowingly. You end up reacting in a way that makes the spouse wonder why something so little is causing such negative reaction. You hear things like something you should laugh about, or why does little things like that annoy you? So, Dr. Doubra, how do we address this? Okay, because we know that of a fact now, this person has blocked it because probably they've decided, I'm not going to let this trauma ruin me. Okay, I'm trying to move past it. Blocking it is never the best way. I'm not an advocate for that. You need to face it head on and deal with it. Okay, but this person has decided that this is my own coping mechanism. This is how I know I can put this thing behind me. But now this man or this woman is always saying or doing things that are taking me back to that place I don't want to be. How should this person address it, especially if this person feels like they shouldn't, if they feel like, I don't trust that this man has the emotional intelligence to deal with this thing. Because the truth of the matter is, not every spouse, no, not everybody is perfect. I'm not perfect, so I don't expect that my husband is going to be perfect. You get? So if in the course of my marriage I realize that this man, he can't deal with this thing, then how do I deal with it? How do I communicate to him so that he knows that certain words, certain actions, certain behaviors are triggering certain things in my life that I'm not even ready to talk to you about? Okay, so let's put it that way. I'm not ready to talk to you about it, but there are things that you're saying, right, that are making it difficult for me to be the best spouse to you. How should she handle it?
So first off, right, saying that, there are certain things you say that trigger my trauma, that makes me not to, cope very well, is having a cosmetic approach to a real problem. Now, we must understand that we must view trauma like a saw. That saw can actually heal. So if you have cuts in your hand and somebody pokes it, it will pain you. Now, if I have a cut here, yeah, and I'm wearing this jacket, you aren't seeing this place, but there's a cut here. You may not know, you actually do not know that I have a cut there. And I just say something funny and you laugh and just hit me. Ah, why did you do that? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I authentically did not know.
Yeah.
So the idea is, why should the wife be so subsumed with the fact that the husband will say triggering words, which is the saw, will say, oh, the person will hit it and you will react. Why don't you heal the saw? We should stop preferring makeshift situations, makeshift solutions to painful experiences. Heal. Because if you heal, the worst that can happen is that there's a scar there. And when you hit the scar, you would not respond that way. In fact, you're like, something is wrong with you. Why do you like hitting this side of my hand? And you start laughing. There's healing. The healing is the destination. The destination is not what the spouse is saying. The destination is not the words that trigger you. The destination is to seek for healing. The destination is to commit yourself to the process of facing the pain head on. Would you require to cry? Cry. Would you want to maybe draw back and have maybe a solitary experience? Do it. But walk through that pain. Do not go for cosmetic approach or looking for somebody that will not trigger it, because it will be triggered. If your husband doesn't trigger it, social media will trigger
Somebody
it.
else will do it, yeah.
You will see movies that will trigger it. You will listen to music that will trigger it. When the person was writing the script, they didn't think about you. Your trauma is not a signboard that everybody needs to look at and be careful with you. If everybody needs to be careful with you, then something is wrong. So at the end of the day, go for healing. Because the truth about the matter is that if the woman is healed, she would not feel so cagey. She would not be putting so much weight on the shoulders of her husband, who may, like you said, may be a victim in proxy. All are lashing out, all are mood swings, all are unstable emotional reaction. He is the one experiencing it. So he's also a traumatized person by proxy. And incidentally, he doesn't even know what caused it. You literally just can't put inside this hot water. So at the end, why are we creating an ecosystem for trauma to thrive instead of solving it? Because when you say, okay, your husband should be more emotionally matured, the next thing you say, your child needs to be more emotionally matured. The next thing you say, your employer needs to be more emotionally matured. The next thing you ask your pastor to be more emotionally matured. You are demanding so much from everybody, but demanding nothing from yourself. Nobody owes you that. You owe yourself the discipline to go for healing, walk through it and get healed. Is it a walk in the park? No. But would you get it? Yes. You will. So the notion of, oh, the husband might use words that will trigger it. No, that is a cosmetic approach. The idea is go for healing. You need to go for counseling. Go. You need to speak with somebody. Do. I mean, I saw somebody advertising for a job, yeah? That the job is just to listen. That there are thousands of people on earth that literally want to speak with somebody. They have nobody to speak with, nobody to listen to them. So they're ready to, have to do is just listen. So if you need to just open your mouth and talk and say authentically how you feel, then get somebody. Pay for a session. The truth is, it's just like somebody that is having recurring headache and every time you want to be taking paracetamol. Why are you fooling? You would have to sit in front of the doctor and the doctor will send you to go do some tests. Yeah. So I'm saying that sit in front of somebody that can help you, that can midwife the process of healing for you and be committed to the journey. And when you do that, the wound will heal. Trauma is not even tattoos can even be removed.
Yeah.
Even tattoos
No.
now removed. You can be healed. You can be made whole. That is the destination. Not to be nitpicking around it. Nobody should touch it. Nobody should poke it. Nobody owes you that, actually. Because like you said, almost everybody's traumatized. I mean, in this country, Nigeria, even the news traumatizes people. So what
You
are you
can say that
saying?
again.
Traumatic people will traumatize the next person. So
Yeah.
you owe it to yourself to walk through that trauma and become healed.
So that you can help other people heal. You know, the process of healing and helping other
That's
people
you.
to heal.
I said that's you extending it. If you just want to get healed and you stop there, it's fine. If you decide to now take up the mantle and heal other people, that's
Yeah,
good.
but that's what I need to explain. That's what I need to explain. Me being healed, right? I may not necessarily, I'm healed for myself because I need to get healed. I'm doing it for myself, not for anyone else. But you see, in my wholeness now, in my healed state now, I like to use the word mended, right? I am helping other people without even knowing it. Because when I am not healed, when I haven't dealt with that trauma, I am causing extra traumas for the people around me because of the way that I am, because of the angry person that I am. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by, your healing will help other people heal. Yeah. Smith A says marriage is a spiritual. Sorry?
Institution.
Yeah,
No,
marriage
you're
is a
reading what
spiritual.
Smith A said.
Yeah, it's a spiritual institution, and the author's intention is that the two shall become one. Many spouses walk into marriage without the insights into this truth. Hence, the many issues we see today. Yeah, I agree with that. And you know what? Dr. Dobra has a freebie for us, which is very exciting because we've got so many comments. We can't take them all. We're already over 1 hour. Okay, and I did promise her because she's had a long day that I wasn't going to stay up to 1 hour. There's another comment here that is going to take us to the freebie. So I'm going to read that from BMO, and it says, please, can we all be aware that hiding a past trauma from a spouse shows that we have not healed from that trauma? And depending on what the past trauma was, you can be defrauding your spouse, irrespective of the fact that he is emotionally matured or not. This is one of the causes of broken homes now. When the spouse finds out 12 years later, he is within his right to walk away, he or she in this case. Even in the Bible, God created them both naked for a reason. Kindly be upfront with your intended so you don't become so. Fantastic. So I'm going to go straight to Dr. Dobra. If you have something to say about that, that's fine. But I want to go straight to your freebie.
Let me say something to what she just read. Now, the truth about the matter is that we must understand the context of marriage. Most times when people want to get married, they are so subsumed about the concept of love that they forget the importance of friendship, the importance of empathy, the importance of partnership, the importance of teamwork, the importance of covenant responsibility, the importance of this is a life, this is a trajectory that you have started. Now, when we talk about somebody not even telling their spouse, we didn't say don't tell your spouse. We're saying that some people are not even aware that they are traumatized.
Yes.
So somebody that is not problem aware would not tell the other person. So nobody said, oh, don't tell your spouse. We're saying that for majority of people that do not tell their spouse, they are not even aware. I gave an example of a client today that was so overwhelmed and ready to walk out of her marriage that she had no idea that she was she was traumatic and she was lashing out. And at the end of the 3-hour session, she was like, oh my God, I had no idea. So now how do you expect somebody that is not even problem aware to share that part of her? Because as she was talking to me, intermittently, she would pause and say, I remember so time. I think I even had a blackout. Sometimes I feel it didn't even happen to me. Do you understand what I mean? Some people do not even have the words to put, they can't face that dark haze in their life. So at the core of it, it is us getting marriage right. Because all this approach we're giving comes into play when you didn't marry right. When you're married to somebody you're not comfortable with. When you're married to somebody, you cannot share your inner, deeper pain. Because somebody that's even traumatized may say, I don't even know why I'm angry. Like, I mean, you consistently being told that, why are you lashing out? Why are you angry? Like, I don't even know I'm angry. I don't know. Today I just felt somehow. In fact, your spouse may make you love you through discovering the trauma. Do you understand? Your spouse will love you into discovering the trauma that you may not even be aware of. So the idea is, get somebody that you can be authentically yourself with. Do not get attracted to the unimportant yardsticks that people use for marriage. Can this person stand with me for life? We know there are health traumas. There are people that have issues, health issues that will just throw them off. Can this person stand with you through thick and thin? Because when your yardstick saying yes is wrong, lots of issues now, it triggers a lot of things. And that is why you start looking for cosmetic solution to real life issues. You must understand that life happens. It is your responsibility to be with a partner that would go through all the easy, murky waters of life with you. Now, when you start the journey, you may not see those murky waters. It's just like you're going on a road, the express, the road is very good, and suddenly you get to a big bump, and there's, something that's happened to the road, and you'd have to navigate through it. So this person must be able to hold your hands through it. You owe it to yourself. Now, peradventure, you're in a marriage that you feel that your partner is not that emotionally matured. You can grow together. We evolve every day. I don't know who told people that we are static as human beings. We're not. Essa said that when she was courting her husband, she knew there's a part of her that yearns for entertainment, but it wasn't being expressed at that time. Let us even take it for granted that you never even mentioned it. That doesn't stop the fact that there came a day where you felt that this is not just a desire. This is something that's really pulsating through my veins, and I really want to express this version of me, irrespective of if I fail or I win. Because when starting, there was no assurance that you would get to this episode, right? You could have even failed at the third trial.
True.
But you had somebody that loved you enough to say, okay, let's embark on this journey. Let's make it even fun. We fail, we've learned something, we win, yay! Now, the core of it is that this person is with you on the ride. So when you come,
good or bad,
when you come and you switch in the lights and you say, welcome to Gist with Essay, and maybe the light flashes into you and it causes something. You say, hi, babe, what happened? You reacted to the light. You're like, I don't know. That would just be your natural response at that time because you haven't processed it why you reacted that way. And it loves you through the point where you get an opening and understanding that this is who I am and we can walk through it.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Doubra. We can go on and on and on. Dr. Doubra can stay for another 2 hours. She'll tell you she's tired, but trust me. And this is why you need to attend her webinar. Dr. Doubra, please tell us a little bit about your webinar.
Awesome. So I literally sleep, wake up, and think about this webinar. I am so invested in it. It's the From Struggles to Bliss webinar. It's a marital webinar. I want to show you mistakes that are sabotaging your enjoyment, sabotaging your enjoying bliss in your marriage, because a lot of people are struggling in marriage. A lot of people are enduring their marriage. I want you to just come sit and soak in executable strategies that would help you enjoy lasting bliss in your marriage. Remember when I started, I said the quality of marriage is not about the longevity, but the bliss, the happiness you enjoy in your everyday discovery, your everyday
See the way
romance.
she smiles when she's talking about the
No,
enjoyment. And listen, Dr.
it's
Droba, I'm going to let you go in a bit, but you
yeah.
need, before you go, please tell us 3 ways. Just give us 3 tips on how you can enjoy marital bliss, and then we'll let you go.
First off, create a structure in your marriage.
Okay.
Create a structure in your marriage. Second, know that you are deserving of bliss. Bliss is not kept for certain kind of people. You are a recipient of bliss. Third, be ready to learn. You don't know how it works. Like everything in life, you need to learn the ropes. So when it comes to enjoying bliss in your marriage, you need to learn it, be committed to learn it, and go for the best person. Now, I don't know about any other person, but when it comes to teaching you how to enjoy a blissful marriage, I'm the best person in the world. So if you don't get me,
I believe
apologies.
you.
You know,
Listen, you guys, you can't miss this webinar. If you Dr. Dobra's handle is scrolling on the screen. Please follow her on Instagram, check out her page, register for the webinar. It's on the 3rd, which is this
yeah,
Sunday.
this Sunday,
Ye-
next tomorrow.
Exactly. So you guys need to register quickly. She has something else that you have to go and register to get the other freebie that's there. I'm not gonna let the cat out of the bag on.
You click on my bio and to show you all the goodies I have in store for you.
Dr. Dobra, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you on the show. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your patience. I love you guys. Until the next time on Gist with Essay, remember, stay happy, stay positive, stay mended. Love you guys. Bye.